Hello, I'm Steve Matthews, otherwise known as the Masked Amp. Today I'm going to show you an extract from a Channel 4 series called Bedlam. This particular episode was first broadcast on the 14th of November 2013 and features what I believe is the only actual assessment under the Mental Health Act to have been filmed. The episode followed Jim Thurkle, an AMP working in the Speedwell community mental health team in South London, as he went about his work in the community. In particular, it focused on Rosemary, a woman with schizophrenia who had stopped taking her medication and was evading contact. I've extracted the scenes involving Rosemary, including Jim's attempts to see Rosemary and his efforts to avoid a formal assessment under the Mental Health Act, and the day the inevitable assessment takes place, and edited them together. Because of patient confidentiality, the cameras are unable to follow Jim into Rosemary's house where the assessment takes place. I hope that this is useful to people interested in the AMP task.
Her house is the one behind that tree, where the blue car is.
If Jim kept them well, they kept their independence. This was care in the community. He's been attempting to visit a 50-year-old female patient with paranoid schizophrenia, but she never answers her door. She's refused medication for more than 4 months.
Do you feel a bit like a detective sometimes?
Yeah, that's very much part of what we do, I think. You're trying to elicit symptoms sometimes. Other times you're just trying to find out if someone's alive or not.
It's now been 5 weeks since Jim's seen Rosemary, a woman with paranoid schizophrenia. She stopped taking her medication. The most common cause of relapse among psychotic patients.
I don't know what condition she's in, whether she's near to a complete relapse, and what her mental state is. I mean, those things are ongoing risks for her.
Are you a bit concerned?
Yeah.
Around a third of Jim's patients refuse to engage with him.
I'm just ringing to see if you've had any recent contact with Rosemary Johnson since our last attempted visit.
Jim's concerns about Rosemary's mental health are growing.
Right.
Today, psychiatrist Dr. Werner is visiting with him. Jim wants an expert opinion on whether she's relapsing, but he'll only get that if she answers the door.
Oh, the bell's not working now. Hello, Rosemary. Can we come and have a talk to you?
No.
Rosemary, you know Dr. Werner?
Could you pop back?
You know Dr. Werner, don't you?
Could you pop back half an hour?
I can't, Rosemary. I've got to go to the office.
Come back half an hour. Come back half an hour.
You said that to me last time, and I came back and you weren't there.
Half an hour, okay?
You know I'm worried about you, don't you, Rosemary?
I'm dressed in. I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't
You
know
know
your
Dr.
name.
Krishna, don't you?
I don't know your name.
Rosemary,
I don't know your age or birth either. So could you wait 10 minutes? I'm dressed
Rosemary,
in, okay?
that's...
It's not going to get anywhere. She's going to keep this. We can't talk to her in that state, really. When this happened last year, just prior to her coming into hospital, she was knocking on the doors of the next-door neighbour, who has 2 young children. She was disturbing the man upstairs by doing the same kind of thing. Hello, Rosemary.
Are you not where I live?
You know I know where you live, don't you?
You don't know where I live.
Your name is Rosemary.
How you found it? How you found where I live?
Because it's on our records in the office, Rosemary.
No, I didn't.
And you know what else I know?
I didn't tell you where I live.
I know that you're known as Kim.
I know.
Should I call you Kim or Rosemary?
Okay, what is it? What is your name when you're in bed?
Jim. My name's Jim.
What?
Jim Thurkle. There we are.
Okay,
That's my name.
What is the middle? What is the middle? What is the middle name?
My middle name?
Yeah,
George.
I don't believe that.
You don't?
Okay.
You know what's named after?
I wonder you can say that. You put that by the way.
How old am I?
I wonder you can say that.
I'm not sure I can disclose that in public.
I
Oh, you could ask me any other questions you want to, Rosemary. Where are you off to now? Can I come and see you tomorrow? Not tomorrow, Monday, I mean. What time Monday? She's licked it.
Jim was forever hunting Rosemary down. It said something much bigger about community care. It only worked if patients wanted it to work too.
There does come a time when, as last year, it was in her best interests to get her into hospital. And the only way of doing that was on a section of the Mental Health Act last year. And I think we may well be heading to that stage again now.
It is going to be a hot weekend. We started with sunshine across many areas, but quite a bit of mist and fog for England and Wales. Around the London area, we can see
Well, we're waiting for police because she's not going to come willingly, I think.
Jim has reached the end of the line with Rosemary,
Rosemary.
a patient with paranoid schizophrenia.
Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye. It's the power to remove someone's liberty. And there isn't any greater power, I don't think, under the law. And it's not something we treat lightly. I'm just waiting for police, because she's not... We're doing a Section 3 assessment, but she's not going to come willingly. There's a bit of me that thinks, why are we going to this length when she is leading the life she chooses? But ultimately, our assessment is that she doesn't have capacity and that she could be an awful lot better in terms of her mental health. We've tried all the other alternatives.
The front door's open. The front door's open?
Yeah, her front door.
If we get a neighbour, perhaps?
Here. Yeah, do you want to
Actually,
Let's slip that lock probably.
Hello, Rosemary.
To section Rosemary, Jim and 2 doctors need to be satisfied it's in the interests of her health, her safety, or to protect others.
Hello, Rosemary.
Go, I'm
Rosemary.
busy now. Just go.
I'm very worried
I don't know
about
you.
you,
I don't know your name. Just go.
You know Dr. Krishna?
Just listen. Just go. I'm busy now.
Rosemary, you know Dr. Krishna?
Just go
And you've met
now.
Dr.
Just
Verna
go,
before.
all right? I don't know you. I don't
We-
know your
we
name.
need to talk
okay?
to you,
What?
Rosemary.
You go. Listen, you don't say that, no, please. Don't say that, no, please.
Okay, so we're going to complete Section 3. We're just doing the papers now, and then take her to triage ward, Lewisham Hospital. Okay? Section 3 of the Mental Health Act.
was she sectioned last year as well?
She was sectioned last year, which was in October. Okay, Tom.
The paperwork.
Thank you very much.
Under
indeed.
Section 3, they can detain and admit Rosemary to hospital, against her will, for up to 6 months. Once in hospital, Rosemary will not have the right to refuse medical treatment.
Do you always feel comfortable with what you've done?
I don't always feel comfortable, no, not at all. But I know there are situations where there is no alternative, and today was one example of that. There is a bit in front of Rosemary that knows she's not well. Quite often, that's the telling point in assessments like this, where the person themselves votes with their feet.
Hello, Rosemary.
Hello,
How are
come
you?
in, hello.
Is it okay if Pete comes in with
Come,
me?
Sure.
Thank you very much,
Sure,
Rosemary.
You're welcome.
After 4 weeks of treatment and medication,
Thank you.
Oh, come in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rosemary is back home.
Oh, he was like one of the greatest on the planet.
I think there's many would argue with you there. They
No,
might with
shouldn't,
Rod Stewart,
shouldn't,
though.
shouldn't. You know,
How you feeling?
I'm well, you know, because lately I've just felt a bit better now. and
Good.
then.
That's good to hear.
Just felt a bit
How are
better.
you sleeping at the moment?
I'm sleeping fine.
You sleeping all right?
Sleeping all right.
Okay, that's good. Do you
You
feel...
like the Queen picture? I bought it today.
Oh, that's
Greenwich.
lovely.
It was only 30 pence.
You've got so
and
many
I've got,
pictures
you know
in
what,
here.
I've got Prince Andrew and Sylvia.
I know.
I just need the Queen Mummy now. So at Christmas I listen to the royalty speech, Her Majesty's
right.
speech. She's
Yeah.
an important lady.
Sure.
You know, I like
Almost as important as you. But you look really well.
Oh, thank you.
And you feel okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. All
Fine,
right.
thank you.
Because I first knew you when you were in your last place, didn't I? Nobody.
So, I don't know how you know me, and you just pop up on my...
I track you down, don't I?
I don't know, you know, you just like I don't know, you just pop up and that's why. So they ask you how you know where I live, you know. Well, this is my home.
Yeah.
This is my castle.
I know. And you're the Queen.
You're the king.
All right, so I'll be in touch.
Okay.
You let me know
thank
if there's anything else I can do for you.
Okay.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Take care.
Come and see me again.
I will.
Next
Have no
time
fear.
Bring your angel back. Smile.
She's much more affable, amenable. I really like her. She's such a warm-hearted person. It's really good to see her with her personality back.
Rosemary struggled to accept her mental illness. She wasn't alone in that. It meant she'd probably always end up in and out of hospital. But when she was back in her castle, enjoying life, it seemed to make sense of what community care was all about.